Welcome back. Staying on? Mic'd up? We mic'd up. We're still mic'd up. Thank God we're still mic'd up. Welcome back to Mic'd Up with Mikey, the boys. We added another one. We got J. Mitch. We got Lloyd. We have Jack. We have KG in the house. Newly more rich KG. Welcome, dude.
Gained a little weight.
Little pockets got a little heavy. Pockets ain't empty. Pockets ain't empty.
Homie.
Oh boy, welcome in, man. Welcome. You like the digs?
Yeah, it's
Yeah. Obviously, I don't know if you signed your deal like a day before the lockout. So like, ain't nobody really talking to you about the deal. So
Yeah.
we get to talk exclusive. You get the exclusive here,
right here.
the exclusive interview here at Mic'd Up with my neighbor Kevin Gausman, who I ended up getting to buy his golf cart from him. So that's nice.
You just gotta- you
yeah,
just
appreciate that. I still have the
take off the
Gausman.
number,
I still have the Gausman in the seat still. It's okay. It's okay. It's my glow up. That's all right. All right, dude. Tell me what happened. So like, tell me how this went. Actually, before we do that, I want to talk about the come up a little bit, because I don't think people realize like there was a stretch where like there's a grind. You had to grind through getting to this point, right? Like you got drafted fourth overall, third overall? What was it?
Fourth, yeah.
Fourth overall by the Orioles. You got to the big leagues relatively quick. 2 years, started pitching was it 2 years? Maybe less than that.
It was like the next May.
Yeah, so you got drafted. You didn't play, or did you play that first year you got drafted?
I played, yeah.
So you played?
I made one start for AA, and then the season ended.
Okay.
And then the next year came into spring. That was my first spring training. Did really well, actually. Like stayed in camp way longer than I thought.
Right.
Started the season in AA.
How's that feel? Like your first spring training, like as a number one pick. Like how's that like vibe when you walk into the clubhouse? People like welcomed you, like, because it's different. Clubhouses are different, right? Like some of them like don't really welcome you and they kind of shun you, and you're like, oh, he's the rich guy and like he doesn't deserve to be here. He hasn't earned his stripes yet. Or some are like, oh no, this guy's gonna help us. We need to like welcome him in.
It was like at first, for the first like 2 weeks, it was like this kid's a lot richer than the majority of us, and like, they all had like, and I didn't understand that at the time, you know. Now I kind of get it now, but at the time, yeah, for the first 2 weeks, it was like, who is this guy? He's got, like I said, a lot of money now, and it was like,
Hasn't really earned his stripes.
yeah, hasn't really done anything, and so, really, it took me like pitching well in spring. I mean, thank goodness my first spring I didn't go out there and just get shelled. Like I came into camp. I lived in Sarasota that off season, so I came into the camp and I was dialed in.
Yeah.
I was 97, 98 every time I pitched. I was
Splitty work.
22 at the time.
Yeah.
So I felt great.
Right. What's a sore
had
arm?
had a whole off season of working out. At their complex, and so.
Gained some weight, because when you got here, you weren't the most jacked human being I've ever seen in my life.
Oh man, yeah, we were talking about that the other day, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I got to campus at LSU, I was the same height I am now, which is like 6'3", and I was 162 pounds.
Noodle arm throwing cheese balls.
And now,
Literally.
now I'm like 200, and I'm still skinny.
Yeah.
So I look back, that was 40 pounds ago. I'm like, oh my goodness, man.
Wow.
Like,
Crazy.
yeah, and
Crazy.
I was just super skinny. I've always been like that.
It's okay. It's good. The only thing that matters is this baby.
Yeah, that's
old
right.
arm.
Yeah, I used to say, I used to like shave my arms too.
Yeah, make it look better.
Did you hear the volume go like this when he said that? I used to like.
Dude, the worst thing about people, when people shave their arms, you go, well, I just got bored. It's like, no, you shaved your arms on purpose.
Listen, I shave my arms every now and then in the season because I want them to look good. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Hell yeah.
Or are you going
way
full
bigger when I shave my arms.
I used to say, oh no, I only shave them because I want to take
my
my
reps. That's what that was my
I
excuse.
shave them because they look good.
Yeah.
They look good. It makes your arms look bigger. That's what I want. You know what?
Yeah.
So I'm a little vain.
Yeah.
Baseball players probably the most vain players
Call me what
of
you
all
want. I don't
time.
care.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Whatever. Sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
No, so I mean, I was just like super skinny, but
My arms were shaved.
yeah, and I would tell people like I'm aerodynamic. That's what I used to say. Like, my arm was so
What do you wear,
skinny,
kimono
I would
dog?
just cut through the air,
Right.
cut through hard.
Right. All right.
And so yeah, I mean, I was super skinny when I got to campus.
And you go through you get to spring training, you probably break and you go back to AA or you go to AAA to start the season?
I go to AA.
AA.
Yeah, so I go to Bowie, and pitched really well in Bowie. But it was just kind of
what is
freak
Bowie?
season.
Bowie's a
It's
AA.
in Maryland, yeah.
You got
How is
to
Bowie?
tell it for the people.
Outside of Annapolis.
Yeah, true.
It's about an hour away from
Baltimore. How is Bowie though? I never
Never played there either.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's
stinks.
yeah. It's
Stinks.
it's
Yeah.
I mean, you're not
minor-
going back, dude. You could shit on it if you want.
it's minor league baseball.
It's a minor league sit.
Such
yeah.
a nice, not nice town.
You got 5 to 10 people in the stands,
And it's
mostly.
cold.
And it's cold.
Ooh.
The ballpark's tiny. The ball flies.
People are
So, I mean,
talking.
it's-
The old 75-year-old man that's lived there for his whole life is talking shit to you, and he's the only person you can hear, and you want to kill him.
Yeah, well, there's nobody.
Thought
goes
you
to
were a
the
first
games,
round
honestly,
pick.
and
Right.
They don't care enough. You
Yeah.
know, like I think you're close enough to DC and
Right.
Baltimore that if you really want to go see a game,
You go to the
just
Baltimore game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I go to AA, and it was just kind of a freak year for that 5th guy in the rotation.
Right.
at
Who was the
big
5th
league
guy at
level.
the start of the year?
Arietta.
Oh, that
At
was
the
before.
time, he was the
Arietta
5.
that was
like
before
4 or
Arietta.
5.
Oh, that was like that was pre-area.
Yeah.
That wasn't really.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Wow.
played with Arietta in AAA that year, and that was the year he got traded to the Cup.
Crazy, huh?
Dude, talk about two different bodies. Arietta is fucking jacked.
Yeah. He's
Oh,
yoked.
yeah.
Was he yoked
Freak
then?
athlete.
Was
He's
he
always been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a
been-
big yoga guy. Like
Yeah,
yoga,
yeah.
Pilates.
He
Yeah.
was doing Pilates before, like, everybody was like, what is this guy doing? He's like, Pilates. Like, how do you
Yeah, nobody
say
knew what it
Is that
was.
French?
Yeah.
You know?
What is that?
What is that? Is that from?
And so-
What is that?
Yeah, wait,
Yeah.
where did you get Pilates from? Who has it? Who's your guy?
Yeah. Where do I buy that?
Yeah, what are we talking about here?
It's in Mark
But
McGuire's
just, like, freak
locker.
athlete, but yeah, and then so Wayne Chen was another guy in the rotation.
yeah.
Everybody
He
Wayne
had
Chen
knee
tonight.
surgery, and
Yeah.
so he went down. They had tried some other guys, Josh Stinson,
I remember these
Steve
names.
Johnson,
Steve
like
Johnson.
a bunch of
Steve.
guys.
Yeah.
Even Zach Britton was still starting then.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, that's
You know,
crazy.
I played with Zach in AAA when he was
Yeah.
a starter, and
Yeah.
so like we were all kind of and so I got called up, and I mean my first 7 starts were as bad as they could possibly be. Outside
Called
of
up in
one,
the big leagues?
outside of one
In
start.
the big leagues?
Yeah, my
What
first
was
7.
what was your
starts,
ERA? Do you know?
Like 9.5.
They kept rolling you out there.
0-5.
They kept rolling you out
Or
there.
no, it was my first 5 starts. I was like, I think I was 0-4. I hadn't had a win yet.
So what do you,
I
like-
went 6 innings one time.
What's
I
going through your
Hell
head?
yeah.
What's going through your head this time?
Well, I just went. I was in AA. I was dealing in AA. I think I had like 50 some innings. I had like 65 punch outs and
Yeah.
like 5 walks. Like
Yeah,
it was
doing
something
it.
stupid.
Yeah.
And so I was just like filling up the zone. Well, I got to the big leagues, and I'm like, I'm just gonna
Do the same
keep
thing.
doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's been
Which
working
you should.
against
That's
these
how you should
pro
do it.
guys,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, like, worked in college, like got drafted, whatever. I was like, all right, I'll just fill up the zone. And I mean, quickly I realized, like, yeah, this like you
Does
can't
that-
just throw a fastball
Yeah.
to these
You're
guys.
gonna hit this
Like,
ball to the moon.
yeah, I mean, it's like
Turns out they can all hit fastballs down here.
I remember Prince Fielder hit a 3-0 homer off me. I was just like,
no.
He stood and watched it.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
damn.
my first game was actually in Toronto. My debut was in
Oh,
Toronto,
wow.
and I
Full
think
circle.
I did everything you could possibly do in a debut. I had an error.
Throwing air or fielding?
I hit a
Probably
guy.
throwing.
I hit a guy. I didn't balk, but like I punched the guy out. I gave up a home run. I gave up a double. Like I gave up.
There, you
everything
got all
you
the
could
first.
possibly
You
do,
got
yeah.
all the first out the way. The
Yeah.
first game. Yeah, that's good.
And then like a couple games later, I called the home plate umpire blue.
Oh
One of
no.
my first, yeah, one of my
Hey,
first
listen.
starts in
I don't know if
The
it,
only
listen
sport
to
in
me.
America, this
Which is
is
a
not
big
okay.
no-no, yeah.
No,
Big
no.
no-no.
Not
You call them by their
okay.
first name. If you call them blue or umpire or whatever, you are not gonna get any good calls.
Oh, you're.
that's
it's
an
out.
insult.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's like it's a real thing.
Same with coach.
Oh, yeah.
You can't call your coach coach.
I've even
no
played-
coach.
I've
You
even-
say, hey, what's going on, coach? No, you don't even. You just call him
Yeah.
his name. Skip.
Hey, I've even
Whatever
played
his
in
name
places. I don't know how many. I don't know how much this has happened for y'all. I've even played in places where on the lineup card itself, they will have they'll
names.
have the names of the umpires, and they're legit, so you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
like where they are on that day, so you know,
Yeah.
because they like it's just not a thing.
Well, that's what I did like last couple of years being in the National League. Just
Yeah.
like as I'm putting my batting gloves on, if I
Hey,
don't
that's
know
what
the guy, I just make sure like, hey,
To
don't
say
play that
something.
That's
guy.
exactly what I do every time.
Jake. And I'm
Yeah.
like, all right.
Yeah.
Hey, Jake, how you
then
doing?
someone tells
know?
you-
and then
then-
they, they're like, oh, he knows my name.
Then you go ask.
Most of the older guys, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
But then you go and ask someone, and they say, hey, what's this guy's name? He goes, this guy's name is Dick. or Jerry. His name's Jerry, but his name is Alan. And you call him, hey, what's going on, Jerry? And you're like, my name's Alan, not Jerry. They got me. They got me. I should have done that. Damn it.
It's actually Cowboy Jim West to you,
You never
sir.
heard that was like if you're a young guy and like you didn't go and look at it, like they would just tell you. And like most of the time they would give you the fake name and then tell you that they're joking. But there was just one time where they just don't tell you that they're joking and they just go and then you're in there. Obviously I would never call a guy Dick. That's a joke. But Jerry, like there's a bunch of Jerry's out there. You don't know.
Got to be Richard, right?
Everybody
sorry.
told me to call you
Joe
Dick. I
West.
know
Yeah,
you're
Joe.
Richard.
You better make sure
Yeah.
you say hi.
If you don't tell Joe hi,
If you
he's
don't tell
gonna
Joe hi,
fuck
he'll
you.
like, hey, how's it going? Like he'll make
Yeah,
sure
old
you
Cowboy
know, like,
Joe.
hey, you better say hi.
Yeah. So I keep cutting you off. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
I'm losing my train of thought.
So you're talking about your
terrible.
Cowboy Jim West, his country album, that's where you were.
So funny story, real quick. Whenever Joe West would come, when I played in Baltimore, whenever we knew Joe West was gonna umpire a game, one of our video guys would make sure to play Joe's country songs in between the innings.
We love that. We love that.
Or like even for some guys walkout,
Yeah.
like if it's a young guy,
He
who doesn't
loved
really,
that too, didn't he?
Oh,
doubt.
I mean,
loved
he just
it.
turn up to the
Loved
bus
it.
box and you know,
Yeah,
he
I love that.
And I always thought it was a
It's
great.
It's always about Joe West.
Absolutely.
So if you make it about him, he probably got some. The plate became about 3 inches wider on each side after that, I would assume.
Not only the plate.
I don't know if you saw. I posted a thing on Instagram a couple months ago. He took a picture of me and my family on the field after one of his last games.
Yeah.
We were out taking pictures. My youngest daughter Sutton had just been born like a couple weeks before. And so he was out there walking, and he's got 2 bottles of scotch that somebody gave him, obviously, as like
Hugging
a
him.
present, you know, like going away as the last game of the series. And he you know,
That's
he's walking
the ball
by, he's
game.
like, you want me to take a picture of you? And I was like,
Sure.
you know what? Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
This is the umpire who has the most games ever worked in Major League Baseball.
Crazy,
Like,
huh?
This is going to be a cool thing one
Yeah.
day to look back and be like, you know, you don't really. I
What-
wish I had a
what-
picture
what?
of him taking the picture.
Now people give him a hard
But-
time, but like he's actually good behind the plate, I would assume, right? Like I think it's always a Joe West show. Like he always wants to like
He'll always test you like early in the game,
yeah.
especially the young guys. He'll
Yeah.
test them first inning. If
Crazy,
there's a
huh?
borderline pitch, he'll ball them and just kind of turn behind the, you know, and
see
give
the
you a look
reaction.
to see
Joe
how you're
West
gonna
show.
react.
Yep.
And if you react,
You're done for the day.
then that's gonna be a ball all day. You know, like, and it's just you just got to know that's what it is. You
Yeah.
got to prepare for that. But
All right, so back to it. So you had a terrible ERA, your first 5 starts. You're getting shelled, and then what happens?
so then I go to the bullpen, and I mean that's really where I figured out kind of like how to go about getting major league guys out.
Right.
You know, I think I finished the season with like a 3 ERA out of the bullpen,
Which is good.
You know, my ERA was still like a 5.5.
Right.
Yeah.
But you
End of the
grinded
season,
it. Yeah.
but you know,
Yeah.
I kind of learned some things, and the next year came in, had an okay year, and then 16 had one of my better years, and that's kind of when I was like, all right, I understand like what it takes
Yeah.
to get these guys out. But yeah, I mean, for my first 4 or 5 years, like it was a constant grind
Yeah,
to try
no
to
doubt.
figure out
Up and down a couple times.
Oh yeah, I
So
mean,
I
I got
faced-
optioned. I've been optioned over 20 times.
Yeah. Stupid.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I was
I
riding
faced-
the Buck Showalter train. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Buck was a great manager, but he took every advantage he could when it came
Yeah.
to
That's what Tampa
the
does.
roster and sending guys up and down,
Yeah.
and you know having Double A right there. But
Yeah.
they wouldn't even send guys to Double A;
Right.
they'd send you back
Right.
to Norfolk, which
Right.
is 5.5 hours away.
Norfolk.
And that's
stinks.
another place. Yeah, that place
Stinks.
is terrible.
Terrible to hit. As a pitcher, I love the pitcher, but it stinks. There's nobody that goes
awful.
there.
It's
You're on
dark.
the water. Can't hit.
It's dark, it's cold, it's windy.
It's always cold. And
Stinks over there.
It sucks. Speaking of Norfolk, I faced Kevin when I was sitting. I was in AAA. He got sent down. We were both in AAA. He was pitching, and I don't ever hit well against my friends ever, right? And so it was probably the first time I've ever faced him in professional baseball. And I'm sitting there and I'm getting ready to. I'm in the box. And I'm hitting, and he throws this 2-seamer up and in. Right, it's not like gonna hit me, but like it's one of those I'm offering at it and like I can't hit, so like I kind of like go back, and this fastball runs, hits me right on the label of the bat and ricochets off.
It's hit.
No, ricochet's foul, right? I step out and like I try to like kick the dirt off my cleats. I'm like, Fucking bat broke. This man broke my bat. I didn't even check swing. He just hits me on this 2-seam fastball off the bat, off the handle, breaks my bat, get a new bat, and then he punches my ticket, and I have to go back to the dugout, and he's laughing at me, and it's okay. But I'm over my career off of Kevin. But
I think I'm over off him too. I'm pretty sure I am. I think I might have walked a couple times.
I walked you like twice in one game in Charlotte.
I
remember like it was yesterday.
Wait, and then the second one, if I remember correctly, the second one, you left the game that like you were done after that at bat, right?
Yeah.
And I remember so I kind of remember that because I remember you walking me. I get to first, and he walks off the mound. He like looks at me. He's like, I'm like,
Yeah, so pissed.
I think I have 2 hits.
I just
he
hate
looked
walking.
right at me, and he's like,
I just hate walking.
Yeah,
Like, that's the
He's
worst.
going,
thing.
I'm about to take second and third on you.
I have probably 2 hits off of him in spring training, but no like real game, whatever, right? So then you finish your deal. You get traded from Baltimore.
Yeah, so I get traded to Atlanta from Baltimore.
And this is where shit kind of gets crazy,
Squirrely,
right? This is like because this is what year was that?
This is my 5th. This is 2018.
So 2018, you get traded from Baltimore
At the deadline.
At the deadline,
I got
how's
traded
that?
to Atlanta.
Kind of crazy, huh?
Oh, it was nuts.
The whole-
man.
but
I was
still,
getting ready.
yeah.
I was in New York. I was at New York. I was in Yankee Stadium in New York. I'm getting stretched out on the training room, on the training table.
Are you pitching? Is your pitch day?
No, I'm throwing a pen that day.
Okay.
Like I'm supposed to throw a pen in 30 minutes. I'm getting stretched out, and I'm just watching MLB Network, and it's like,
That's how you found out?
yes,
No way.
on TV.
Wow.
Yep.
Agent
Comes
didn't even
across
tell
the
you.
thing. Yeah,
Nobody
it's
told
like,
you anything.
wow.
Yeah, the
Crazy.
Braves have a deal for Kevin Gausman from the Orioles. I was like, huh? Literally, I'm like,
No,
what?
Kevin Gausman?
And then our trainers are like,
who'd you get traded for?
I don't really know.
You
It was
don't
like a pack. Me and Darren O'Day actually
Oh yeah.
got traded together for a couple minor league guys.
I got you. You just kind of.
Phil, Brett Phillips, I think.
Oh, the outfielder.
No, pitcher. Not Brett Phillips.
I know you're talking about that. I know. I think he was there.
He was pitching for
the Rays at some point.
for the Dodgers this year. in
Yeah,
the
he got
postseason.
traded. Yeah. I know. I'll face him. I forget his first
Forget his
name now.
first name. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
But he was in that trade. Yeah, and then so I go to Atlanta, and
They kind of toyed around with you a little bit, right?
yeah, and my first day I get there, and I'm in the hotel, and they're like, "Let's meet in this conference room." I'm like, "All right." And my old pitching coach from the Orioles, from my first 2-3 years in the big leagues, was Dave Wallace, and he worked then for the Braves. And Dave has a ton of history in the game and been around for a long time. Worked with a lot of young pitchers coming up with the Dodgers back in the day. So he had Pedro's brother, he had Oral Hershiser, he had a bunch of these guys.
Yeah.
Pedro has a brother?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
nasty. Look him up.
I didn't know that
He's
either.
disgusting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Older or younger?
Nasty changeup. Older.
Older.
He was with the Dodgers. I
Yeah.
think one game he punched out.
Oh, so he pitched in the big leagues.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. Wow.
I forget his first name right now.
Hey, Pedro.
He's not Pedro, but he had a great
It's not
career.
Pedro.
Not many guys are Pedro. But, yeah, so then I go in the conference room, and he's there, and the GM is there, and the pitching coach,
Yeah.
and a couple like analytical guys, and they gave me this whole presentation on like pretty much your fastball doesn't play down in the zone. You should pitch above the belt, like always.
Wait.
With your fastball.
What do you mean by presentation? Like, was this presented to you with some kind of facts, or was this just them talking?
No, it was
Like, how do we tell you we traded for you, but we don't like
think
what
you
you do?
stink.
Like,
Well, so-
how did that go?
No, so I mean, they brought me like pictures from where I was at on the rubbers, how like the ball
Thought
came
you were off
out
the rubbers.
on the on the rubbers, on the rubber.
Congratulations on the kid.
Probably goodbye. I got 2 of them. So
Put some hot sauce in that thing.
You and was it Kanye? Drake. You and Drake.
The fact that she would, I'm sorry to derail it, the fact that she went back and tried to do that is
Hey, he knew what he
exactly
was
why he
doing.
had to
He
do
knew.
it.
Stop messing with those girls, though. Hey, come on.
Go on.
I can't even imagine what. I can't even.
How you do?
You can?
Could you
I
imagine
don't
the scene in that? It's over.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Anyways, go ahead.
yeah, so like this presentation was crazy. I mean, now I wish I could go back and like actually at the time it was so just
So
like
new.
like-
Yeah.
when I was with the Orioles, we did not really look at analytics
Right.
at all. It was like these guys don't hit these pitches, throw these pitches.
Right.
You know, like try not to throw them in the heart of the plate.
Right.
I mean, and
Stop throwing fastballs down the middle.
yeah. And then I mean, they're like showing me batting average against me down in the zone. Like they're showing me punch outs of like guys fastballs up in the zone, showing me where on the different parts of the rubber where my foot had relation to how like the angle was creating at the plate. And pretty much we're like, we want you to throw your split way more. We think it's just throw fastballs up and throw your split. And I made 10 starts with them that year. We won the NL East. And I mean, I think I was like, at one point I was like 5-0 with like a 2 ERA.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like it just kind of clicked.
Yeah,
like I was doing what they were saying. And first thing too, they were like, we want you to just pitch out of the stretch. Like your numbers out of the lineup aren't very good. I'm like, okay. I guess you got the numbers. You know, they are what they are. So I did it and started punching out way more guys, going deep into games. Like the swings that I was getting, I was like, man, my split is like
nasty,
really good. Like, you know, I'm throwing it more and more, and it's getting better and better. And I'm like, all right, maybe they're onto something. So finished the year that year, had a great year. Then 2019 was just a grind.
Yep.
You know, my daughter was born end of January. That spring I got hurt. You know, had just a bunch of shoulder issues. You know, couldn't get healthy, and then I mean, I was terrible. You know, I was just.
Well, I
was trying to do the same thing. I was trying to throw fastballs up, but I was just missing middle all year. Yeah, and it was just like. I get 0-2, 1-2 on like the same amount of hitters I do now, which is a high percentage, and it was just like doubling the gap.
Yeah.
Homer again. And then, I mean, I gave up. I think I had one of the craziest stretches in my career. I think I had like 8 starts in a row where I gave up at least like 8 hits.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like at least 2 walks or something. Like I was terrible. Dude.
Yeah.
Like,
and they moved you to the pen though, right?
No. They just they put me on the DL pretty much.
Your Phantom.
Yeah. They put me on the DL and sent my ass to Florida and was like, trying to figure some shit out. You know?
Wait. What did you say? Phantom?
The Phantom. So sometimes they'll put you on the DL with an injury, quote unquote, that's not really an injury. Yeah. It's more of like a mental DL break, but they can't just put you on the DL because of that.
Happens like way more than you think.
Yeah. So you have to have to be able to have an injury to like log. And sometimes it helps. Like sometimes you're like, thank you. I'm so mentally
decapitated right now.
Yeah, I'm so mentally exhausted.
I am hurt. Technically, I'm hurt.
Yeah, I don't want to.
I'm hurt,
I don't want to think about it.
I am hurt. My feelings are real hurt.
Yeah. I'm hurt, dog. I'm hurt.
Wait, do you know that I told him that for the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, we were his escort?
You told me that.
Yeah.
He acknowledged you.
Yeah, I did. I hit him with I'm hurt, dog. Ed Reed. And we had to escort him around Natchitoches, Louisiana. I was like, this is so embarrassing to have to bring him to the hot spots, the Cove in Natchitoches. We bring him there. He's puffing cigars, the coolest guy of all time. Like, when you talk about swag, like he has the hat on, big beard, big afro. And I hit him with I'm hurt, dog, in the middle of the dance floor. And he was like, let's go. You're my guy. What's your name?
And all the Lord's highlight of his life right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So you were on the Phantom. Go back to Florida. And then what?
Go back to Florida. And I was like, I got to just build this thing from the ground up.
Right.
And so my throwing partner in Atlanta was Sean Newcomb. Big lefty. He's like 6'6". Like the ball just explodes out of his hand. Yeah. He kind of has this weird like leg kick thing where he like kicks out.
Yeah.
And I'd play catch with him all the time, and his fastball would just like get on you, like even when you're playing catch with him, knowing that it's coming. And so I was like, man, like I'm just gonna see what I can do. Like, so I actually took videos of him on YouTube throwing, put it into a mirror, recorded it so he was right-handed, and I just watched that like on repeat, like all day, every day, pretty much. Like anytime I was doing it, if I was like taking a shit, like I'm watching it. Like if I'm like I can't sleep, like I'm sitting there watching it. You know, like
that's crazy.
This is your new porn.
Listen to me. Baseball players do some crazy ass shit to try to get out of
anything.
A funk. I'm telling you. So you watch it, right? Like
so I'm watching it, and then and I was like, when I got down to Florida, they were like, you know, why don't you like throw a curveball. Start throwing a curveball. Like, maybe that'll help pretty much.
Let's just throw it in the ball.
Throw a curveball. And then go back
I'm
to
12 again.
I haven't thrown a curveball in friggin' 4 years, but yeah, all right, yeah. So I started throwing a curveball. They're like, well, maybe a cutter too. I'm like, all right, I'll throw a cutter
Curveball doesn't
too.
work. Let's try another one.
I'll throw a cutter too.
You know
So
what,
I'm throwing a curveball and a cutter down
try
here in
knuckleball.
Florida. And fastballs and splits too, but I'm throwing just bullpens like every other day pretty much. Working out, BFR bikes, like just like honestly, just like getting my mind right, but just watching this constantly and just doing it.
Right.
And just like having my own cues for like what I'm trying to feel and like trying to like land and be back still and like trying to do all this stuff. And then like one day it just kind of clicked and I was like, all right, this is what it's supposed to feel like.
Right.
Land on your heel. And like nowadays with like Rapsodo and all that stuff, you got instant feedback as a pitcher if you know what you're looking at.
Right.
And so I'm like starting to see my vert on my fastball like go up. Like it used to be like sitting at like 14, 15, which is like good but not great. And then all of a sudden like I'm throwing bullpens like 18, 19,
20.
like 20, 22 some days.
When you get over 20, when you get 20, it's like, holy shit, this ball is like rising almost.
Yeah. And I'm having these like random like minor league guys who I don't even know, honestly. These kids are just like walking by and like standing in on my pens. Like,
You're doing the same thing you were doing with Newcomb. They saw the shit go, they want to see it.
Yeah. And so they're just like down there, I guess, for I don't know, GCL or whatever. A lot of these kids that just got drafted actually.
Right.
And so I'm just like, hey, are you left-handed? Like, yeah, get in there. Like, tell me what you see. I'm like, I'm gonna throw you a fastball up and in, and I'm gonna throw you a split. Like, tell me what you see. And I'm throwing it to you, and these kids are probably 18, but they're like, man, like, that's like, it's really spinning. And I'm throwing my curveball, and they're like, this is a good curveball. I'm like, this kid's 18.
Yeah. That's not
curveball or not.
I know what curveball's like.
Whatever. Where did you hit in the lineup, son?
Yeah. And, but I'm just like, I can just tell, like, I called one of my buddies, Chris Tillman, who was living in Sarasota at the time. Yeah. And I was in Northport, their new complex, the Braves' new complex. And I was like, hey, why don't you come see me? Like, you watched me pitch for, 3-4 years in the big leagues. Like, and, like, one of the first days, he's like, man, the ball is coming out, like, really good,
jumping.
And I'm like, yeah, that's what it feels like, like. Yeah. But, the hit, I always say this, fucking hitters will let you know.
Yeah, right. No doubt. Yeah.
And so I get called back up, go back up to the big leagues. My first start is against the Nationals in Atlanta, like 7 shutty, I think, 7 2/3 shutty, like 3 hits.
Yeah, you're feeling it now.
Threw like 3 cutters that Brian McCann was like, those weren't cutters. Yeah. Like, I like punched the guy out and I was like, dude, bro, how was that cutter, man? And he's like,
I don't know what you're throwing.
That didn't
do anything. Don't throw that.
He's like, it actually came back a little bit. All right, well, got the guy out. But whatever. And so, and like had like another good start, and then I had like 2-3 bad starts again. Right. And I got DFA'd by Atlanta.
Now explain. So DFA, it's designated for assignment, which means you're on the roster, which means you're on the 40-man roster.
Look at me like I don't know.
Well, I'm not. I'm just talking. I'm just talking. I'm talking to everybody, right? But DFA means basically you're on the roster and you don't have any more options, or they don't want to option you back down to AAA, and so they take you off the roster, which is considered a DFA, which means you go through waivers, someone can pick you up. Yeah. Continue.
So then the Reds pick me up off waivers. I go to the Reds. Like, for sure thinking I'm going to go there and start. Yeah. Like, just because outside looking in, I'm like, yeah, it's the Reds, But
and there's a deep
they actually had a nasty starting rotation.
Right. Yeah.
That I didn't really even know about, to be honest. And so I go there, and they're like, hey, you're going to be pitching out of the pen. I'm like, all right. Whatever, let's just go. Try to, throw as hard as I can and punch guys out. And really kind of took me back to, my first year in the big leagues. Like, all right, I'm back in the bullpen. Like, let's figure this shit out again, Yeah. And Dustin Johnson, DJ Johnson in Cincinnati is an unbelievable pitching coach. And he had a couple cues for me.
He's from Vandy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He used to be at Vandy.
Coach.
Was with Sonny Gray there. Yeah. And now he has Sonny in Cincinnati too. But he just had a couple cues for me. He's like, you're not even looking at the mitt. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, like you pitching out of the stretch. Like you're looking at the third base coach until you the ball leaves your hand. And I was like, really? Like, that's not good. And he was like, yeah, that's for sure. Like, what are you doing? And he was like, the best free throw shooters in the NBA look at the rim the longest. And I was like, huh.
That's a good point.
And so I literally just started like kind of doing the same thing that I was doing with the videos of Newcomb, just like constantly, just like everything I did, just zoning in on like aiming small, missing small.
Yeah.
And like my command just took off.
Yeah.
It was like night and day. Like learned how to pitch up in the zone, like, and not miss down.
Right.
Like my miss will be up now, for the most part.
Right.
And
you'd rather miss up. It's harder to hit the one up. Especially if you're ahead in the count. Like you throw that pitch at your eyes. That's a hard pitch not to swing at, even if it's too high. You know what I mean? Like obviously, one's over your head, you're not gonna swing at. But if you're aiming for the belt or the belly button, and you aim and you get to the chest, like people swing through that shit all the time. Yeah, no doubt.
Everybody's chasing.
Well, the higher I throw my fastball and guys swing at it, the more leeway I have on my split. Like I can throw my split high.
If they're swinging at that
even
pitch,
more like, oh, I want to.
Exactly. If they're swinging at that pitch up in the zone, you have them.
Yeah.
Okay. If they're swinging, if they're not taking that, you're like, okay, I can do whatever I want with these guys now because your split is nasty. It's like one of the nastier pitches in baseball. So if you're gonna get guys to swing at that, and it opens up the plate for you, you're just pupping them. You're toying with these guys. You do whatever the fuck you want with them, which is great. It's a great place to be in.
Yeah.
So you finished season in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Out the pen.
And I mean, I pitched really well for him at the pen, and that offseason didn't know, was going into.
So they designate you at the end of the year, or do they non-tender you?
They non-tendered me.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was going into my last year ARB, so I had to make a certain amount of money, and they were like, we're not going to pay you if you're a bullpen guy, pretty much.
Right.
And so the Giants were like, hey, we want you to start. We want you to do exactly what you did with Cincinnati, but as a starter. Like, throw just fastball split pretty much, because that's all I did out of the pen with them. And I was like, all right. And
then
COVID hit. I put a mound in my garage, and I would just sit there and do my mechanics again. Like, I'm, again, watching videos of Sean Newcomb backwards, and just
he put it out in his backyard, and I would just track. I was sitting in the box and track pitches. He would throw it. He would throw in his bullpens in his backyard because we can't go anywhere else, and I would just sit there and track pitches. We have
I'm here for
some
that.
catchers. Some catchers. Yeah, you want to do that?
I'm ready to see.
Yeah, our neighbor did it and spilled coffee all over him.
Oh yeah.
BG, I know he's listening to it. BG spilled coffee all over. Let me see what this looks like. Spilled coffee all over his chest.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
that was a slider too, and then I don't throw good sliders. So.
That's what McCann was telling you. So that's really naughty.
So then you go through COVID, obviously.
Yeah, and so I mean, I'm like just pretty much working out in my garage, throwing out in my backyard.
So your garage is
throwing
56
baseballs.
feet?
No, he was just throwing it into the wall, right?
Yeah, I'd throw into the
or a
wall
net.
throw into a net. Just like doing dry drills in the garage, at midnight, like just random,
no rubber.
COVID stuff, like,
Right? Yeah.
normal COVID
No rubber.
stuff.
No rubber
rubbers.
dry drills?
Yeah, no
Dry.
river dry drills. Yeah.
Every mirror he walks in front of.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it is.
pretty
Hey,
much.
Every mirror I walk
Literally.
in, I'll go, here's my stats.
Literally.
That feels good,
Well, that's the first thing I do every day when I get in the mirror. I do my mechanic.
Yeah, no doubt. Naked too.
Naked
Probably.
all the time.
Like
All
big
the
naked
time.
guy on
Am I wrong when I say, hey, there's more guys are in the shower either doing naked mechanics of their pitching or naked dry swings? Like that's a thing in the locker room. It's a thing.
Yeah, so it's like an unspoken thing. Too.
It happens.
You
And
see
if someone's doing
it,
it,
you
you'll
walk
make
by
fun
and
of
just
them.
like
It's
whatever.
okay, this guy's trying to
Yeah, I
figure
was
something
doing
out.
this 10 minutes ago, so it's whatever.
This guy's trying to figure something out. Like I'm letting him figure it out.
He's 0 for 8. Like,
No,
yeah,
his dick's flopping everywhere. Like he's just trying to figure out what he's trying to do, and let him do it. You know what I mean? That's it.
Make eye contact. Nothing said. Just kind of keep going.
Hey,
That's
find it, figure it out, guy. I hope you find it.
Yeah.
I hope you find it. All right, so then
Separation.
you pitch. You had what 10 starts, right, that year?
10 starts, yeah. Did really well. Punched out
Yeah, you're
a ton per 9.
Yeah.
Like, and then I was like a free agent again. Didn't know what was gonna happen. Giants offered me a qualifying offer.
I remember that day. You had some other offers too, and you decided to stick with San Fran, right? Why do you want to do that?
I just felt like I had done so well the year before,
Yeah.
and like the NL West is such a good pitching division
Yeah,
that it's
is.
like I was like, you know what? Like this was my first time on the West Coast. Was the year before. I was like, man, I loved San Francisco. Like super cool, even with COVID. Like still sucked, but I had my Jeep there, so I would just drive across the bridge and just like go find some cool spots. Like you couldn't really be around people,
right?
So
just chill, I
would just find some cliffs, and chill, like take pictures,
outing
like
yourself.
do whatever,
You're outing yourself.
Yeah. And then
the
so
Jeep wave?
oh yeah, the Jeep wave is a real
the
thing.
J wave for you.
What's up, bro?
So then you sign, you finish that year, then you have your next year, the qualifying offer. You sign it.
Yeah, sign it, and then last year had a really good spring and just kind of hit the ground running.
Shoved.
Just
shoved.
And I mean, honestly, surprised myself.
That was your first All-Star appearance, right?
Yeah.
So you make the All-Star team.
Which was in Denver.
Yeah, which was awesome.
Which is like 30 minutes from where I grew
Still
up.
outing yourself.
That was super cool.
Yeah.
It's just like, never forget that. Probably had 30 people there.
Yeah, but how many people did you have go?
Oh, man, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
that's awesome.
I got a picture of two of my best friends out in right field, like in the stands.
That's awesome.
And me on the field, just like with my arms up like this.
That's cool.
It's like one of the coolest pictures.
Yeah. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better, and it was supposed to be in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And they moved it. That was a whole
and I was hoping it was going to be in Atlanta. Once I was like, I might make this thing, and then like I decided it'd be great to be back in that clubhouse and be like,
fuck you.
I'm an all-star now.
Yeah.
What's up, guys?
But you just say, fuck you, I'm here. Look what I did. You didn't want me, look what I did. I love that. So then you go to off season. Then you have, because I was following you. Obviously, we were talking throughout the course of the year, and I look at him like he's going to be the number one right-handed free agent pitcher in the league, in the free agent market. Like he's going to demand a ton of money, right? And it was just a matter of where you want to go, who wanted to give it to you, and I knew the lockout was looming. Like we knew that they weren't going to sign it. We weren't going to agree. I knew there was going to be a lockout December 1st. Obviously, you hope, but you knew it. You could sign up until the lockout. It was all you could sign, right? What went into like that process, right? Like, was it you signed with the Blue Jays, but I'm assuming you had multiple other offers that you were talking about, trying to figure it out. Like, was it mostly the money, or was it, hey, is it going to be good for what's good for my family? A mixture of both. Am I going to win here? Like, what went into your decision to pick Toronto, and was it always going to be Toronto, or was there somebody else that you thought that you may want to go to?
No, I mean, honestly, it was a mixture of a lot of things. Like, first off, I went into it talking with my wife, like, hey, we might not sign until like
February,
end of February. Like, if the lockout and like when we're going to start back up, we still don't know. So I was like, I prepared her like, hey, if we don't reach something beforehand, like just be prepared to not know where we're going to go. And like, all right, we signed here, we got to go like to spring training right away. Just be prepared for that.
Right.
And so, then it just kind of kicked up real quick. Like, a week out before the deadline, it was like, just a couple more teams are calling and interested, but no one's making the offer yet. And it was kind of like, like, to be honest, going into the season, I was never like, go do my thing and I'll be.
You can't think that way.
And I'll put
right?
myself like in a spot to be one of the highest guys on the market.
You think that way is too much pressure,
No, it was like, for me, it was like, let's just like
pitch,
go have fun. And the greatest thing about last year was it was just, that's what it was more than anything, was fun.
Right.
Like we had such a good group of guys that it was like, there was no pressure. Like, even when I kept going and just like, it's getting to like almost 10 starts of like shoving. Like, it's like, because in anything nowadays with social media and stuff, like, there's no way to like not know what's going on.
Everything's sensational.
Like everywhere you go, like I remember facing Shohei in LA, and it was like splitters against splitters, like last five star, against each other, and like it was like, damn, that's my last 5 stars numbers. Like, man, those are really good. Like,
I wish I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm like,
thinking about it.
Shit, and then I'm like, but it was like such a good group of guys, and like Longo, Longo was my locker mate, and so
It's a great one.
oh, having
Great
him right
whiskey and
next to
great
you,
food.
like oh yeah, he knows
Yeah.
everything about
Yeah,
everything. It's crazy.
As pro as you can get.
Yeah. And so it was just like really fun, but yeah, finished the season. You know, I really thought we had a chance to go to the World Series.
I did too.
You know, the way we were playing, just everything was clicking,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Right.
Like every move that Cap would make would end up working out. And it was just like the writing on the wall was like, all right, like now we're playing the Dodgers, beat the Dodgers, like there we go.
Yep.
You know, because I like everybody in that locker room had full confidence that like we can beat any team. It was
a great game too.
Like, you know, which is a great feeling.
Unbelievable.
And against the Dodgers, like we had played them so good all season. We'd won the series against them, and like had some crazy things happen. Mike Tauchman like robbed a homer, like a bunch of crazy stuff. We won on an error.
Yeah.
Like Buster had like an infield hit, like throwing error. We won on. It was just like the craziest, you know.
Yeah. Right.
Like just like a bunch of weird stuff happened, but
That's when you start thinking like destiny's on your side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just like, okay, this is everything's breaking our way
Well-
because y'all had like an older locker room, right?
Yeah.
And so it's all these guys kind of feels one last ride for them, and you're like, well, we're gonna put everything on the line for these guys because Buster Posey's not coming back. You know, you have all of these pieces in place, and we're like, oh shit, we might be able to win this thing just because it feels like a movie.
yeah, no, for sure. I mean, all those guys, like, and that's another thing. We had so much knowledge of being in that situation.
Right.
You know, like all those guys, like
Playoffs.
they weren't nervous. You know,
Yeah.
like I mean, that was one of the craziest series I've ever been a part
I
of.
bet.
Giants,
Yeah.
Dodgers in the
Yeah.
postseason. First time they've ever faced each other in the postseason. First time any 102 win teams
Yeah.
faced each other. Like it was just like a dogfight.
Unbelievable.
You know, it was like, and there's so much respect between
Yeah.
the two teams too. You know, it wasn't like, you know,
It wasn't
like,
bad blood. It was just
yeah, it
straight
was just like,
competition.
it was just like,
Yeah.
all right, it's us against them. Like, and then we go game 5. Like,
It was all, dude. It was.
I pitched the 9th inning of
Yeah.
game 5. Like,
Yeah.
come in with
Yeah.
guys on
I
first
know.
and third. Like, it's just crazy how postseason works, man. It's
So-
so
They should have
fun,
pinch hit
like-
you.
Let's rewind. Right to my segue. Let's rewind a little bit. You're talking about it was magical and everything was happening, whatever. So, you know, people would think, the normal fan would think that talking to you and asking you, hey, what's your best moment? Like, you know, and you think, oh, I struck out Shohei or I struck out Mike Trout. And like, that's my best moment. Like, no. What was your most favorite moment this year and during the season? And I don't think it was on the mound, right?
It was the walk-off sack fly. 100%.
By you.
By me.
By
Yeah.
you. Pitch
By me.
hit.
But you
Walk
got
off.
to
Again-
tell the story
against-
how.
Yeah,
it
you
happened.
gotta
Against
tell
the
me.
Braves, too.
You gotta
give the
yeah.
backstory
So
how
let
it
me
Okay.
tell me how this happened.
All right, so it's like the 10th inning at this point. Kurt Casale had just gone
And you're
into
playing.
the
Who
game.
y'all playing?
We're playing the Braves.
The Braves.
Yeah, this is the last game of the
Even
3-game
better.
series. Yeah,
It's the Braves.
last game of a 3-game series, I think. And then, so it's 10th inning. Kurt Casale goes in the game for Buster, and one of our coaches comes down and he's like, "Hey, Logan Webb had pitched the day before or that game," and he's like, "Hey, we had a couple other guys that were kind of banged
Right.
up starters, like."
Right.
And he's like, "Hey, that's our last position player. So if it gets to the pitcher's spot next, like you're gonna hit."
Go get your spikes on.
Yeah, and I'm like, I mean, like the pitcher had just hit, or
Yeah,
we had
you had
just
9
pinch hit for
spots.
somebody. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know, for sure we're gonna win the game before then.
Because now the extra inning rules, you have to get on second base. So like,
Yeah.
it's easy. It happens.
And also, like, all they have been doing was winning. Like, why
Right.
would this
Yeah,
thing ever
why
come
would
back
they
around
use
to
this?
me right
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
Like,
For sure, yeah.
But
Right.
essentially, it's 3 innings. Like,
Yeah,
there's no
like,
way it gets back
come
to
on.
me, dude.
Yeah. And so I'm like, all right. So I kind of ease my way up to the clubhouse, like put my spikes on, put my jersey on. The guys that like pitched that game are up
Where's
there,
that
all
coffee?
watching the game, like. You know, they're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" You know? Like, I guess I'm gonna
I
hit,
guess I'm gonna
guys.
hit.
You know? Yeah, I don't know either, but whatever. And so they're giving me crap, and then I go down there. Inning comes and goes. Like next inning, it's like I'm like the 5th spot. I'm like, oh, for sure. Like we're gonna win
Yeah, we
before
get it.
this, you know. But then I'm like, I should probably go like
Swing
at least
once.
like swing, you
Yeah.
know, and do some stuff just in case. And so Buster, like right before the inning starts, he's like, "Hey, you know, if it gets to it, like they're gonna intentionally walk the guy in front of you to like get to you. I hope you know that." And I was like, Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that. But yeah, I hadn't,
far down, but you're probably
I
right.
hadn't really thought about that,
There's only
Buster.
4 now, really.
Yeah, I was like, I hadn't really thought about that, Buster. And so I like go down to the cage.
What would you do if you were pitching? I don't know.
And
I would walk the pitcher. I'd walk people to get to the pitcher.
And so he's like, so I go down there into the cage, and I'm like, turn it up as high as it goes.
Which
like-
I don't listen to me. Nobody does that. Nobody goes to the pitching machine and says, "I want to throw up to 100. I want to hit 100 out the machine." In like everything comes out the machine looks way harder than it actually is. So if it's 100, it looks probably like 150. Nobody does that.
Yeah, because it's like Iron Mike, straight over
Yeah.
the top, just backspin.
No timing,
like,
no
I'm just
nothing.
out of a machine, if I can get a machine up to 82, just literally like gun a machine and it's 82, it looks like 105. So like, just give you an idea.
I'm just giving y'all a background. Like this is so
Like,
this man.
you're like, this is not even real. This is stupid.
Hey, this man goes in the cage and says, "Put up to 100." Go ahead.
So I mean, my first probably 10, 12, 13 swings, I mean, I'm whiffing.
Yeah, of
like,
course.
Big time.
Just coming at
like
200
not
miles
even
an hour.
coming close.
Yeah.
And then I started like fouling off, like barely nicking it, barely
Gilmore
nicking
in
it.
there. He's like,
And
hit
then-
me again.
And I'm like, I start fouling it off this way, and then I get like 2 or 3 in a row where I'm like right
Barrel
on
up.
time, like barrel them up, and I'm like,
I'm in. I'm
all
good.
right, I'm good. Like
Turn it off.
I'm as good as I can get right now, in this moment. So of course, like they intentionally walk Donovan Solano in
course,
front
like
of
you
me.
said.
Like
Yep.
Buster
There's
said.
one out, and so I'm like in the dugout still, and Buster's like, "All right, this is your moment." And I'm like,
Thanks, Buster.
"All right,
Thanks, buddy.
So I make my way out there, and Jacob Webb's pitching for the Braves. Friggin' nasty. Throws me a first pitch changeup for a call strike.
After seeing 100 miles an hour,
Dude,
in the
and
cage,
I was just like, oh
So
my gosh.
fucked.
If he throws me
So
2 more of
fucked.
those, like,
I
I'm
have no
done.
chance.
I have no shot. And so somehow I got to 2-2. I fouled a couple pitches off, got to 2-2. He
Throws you the changeup
threw me
again,
a
right?
changeup 2-2 that was so I don't know how I didn't swing. Like
You just locked up.
I really I just
but
I don't
it
know,
looked
I
like
blanked.
you knew what you're doing.
yeah.
You know
I
what you
blinked,
did?
but everybody in the dugout was like, "Oh, he saw that." And so like that's what saved me getting to a full count.
And he stepped out of the box. He's like, oh my God, how did I do this?
I didn't know. I didn't see that ball, but I'm gonna take it.
Dude,
That's
but
when
literally
he
like
just the batting gloves. You're like, I know what I'm doing, dude. You spit on
dude,
that.
I mean, and it's crazy because this whole at bat was nuts because like the stadium's packed. Like this was like on a weekend.
Right.
So it's like still
Right, yeah.
packed, everybody's standing. I've never been in a moment like
Yeah.
that before, like ever. And so I'm like every pitch that's like I'm fouling off or taking,
You can
or
hear
like
it gets louder and louder.
it's getting louder and louder, and
Yeah.
I'm like, holy crap, man! Like,
I'm in it.
dude, yeah, I'm in it. I'm like, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is my moment.
This is it.
I'm like,
He's not
this
gonna
is my
walk.
moment.
He already told
Yeah,
me.
I'm like, I'm cheating so bad to a fastball right here.
full count.
Like,
No
I'm
way.
like, I'm cheating because there's no way he's gonna be able to take it if he throws me an off-speed pitch and walks the pitcher to lose the game.
Yeah.
Like those guys in the shower are gonna be like, what the, dude,
Yeah.
like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, so I was like, I'm just gonna cheat to a fastball. And if you look at the picture, I'm literally like, I almost swung and missed because I was so early.
Dude, you were hitting on
like,
a machine that was going 120.
I never pull the ball ever.
Right.
Like in BP, for me to pull the ball, like I have to like cheat like
Right.
crazy.
Yeah.
And so I hit it, and like when I hit it, I thought it was going to like the second baseman. Like I hit it, and I was like, oh man. And I'm like running down the line. I'm like, oh, went to the outfield, like cool, And then I'm like, oh, kind of like a little far
This could
back
happen.
there.
Like, oh my
and it
God.
went to Jock, so I'm like,
Yeah.
he doesn't have like the greatest arm.
Right.
He has a good arm, but
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not
This could
Mookie
happen.
Betts out in
Right.
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 Like, and so then I look back at Crawford on third, and he's like
He's ready.
tagging up. He's
Yeah.
ready to go. And I'm like, oh, he's deking him.
He's not gonna do it.
And then like he catches and throws, and I'm just sitting there watching the whole thing, and he slides, and the umpire's safe. And I was like, what the?
And it was
Losing
awesome.
it. Like one of the
They
coolest moments in my life,
Yeah, I bet.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait, boys.
Just
Look at this finish. Are you kidding
Look
me?
at it, look
at
Are
it.
you kidding me?
Look at
Looks like you hit a
finish
moonshot.
So,
It does look like I hit a bomb, huh?
That's a great finish right there. Great flow. Is that you have a little beard or mustache going on there? I don't know. Is it maybe it's just
Just a
shadow?
couple days non-shave.
Yeah, that's a good
Hand guard, elbow guard,
look at that.
Oh, I got everything, dude.
flak jacket.
I got the hand guard, elbow guard.
Hey Barry, nice to meet you.
face mask.
One of my best friends is a huge Giants fan, and he sent me a picture of Barry Bonds, his finish, and mine right next to it. And I was like, they look identical.
That's great. That was an unbelievable finish.
That's McCovey Cove
Did
I've ever seen.
did they do the whole deal? Did you get a beer shower in the? Did you get a?
I didn't get a beer shower,
No.
but oh, dude, it was awesome.
I bet.
Like that was one of the coolest moments. Like throwing my helmet,
Yeah.
seeing all these guys running
you
at
know,
me.
like you may not ever get to experience that ever again.
Because they're all
It's a walk-off.
shocked.
Right.
They're all shocked that it happened, just like I was, you
Yeah.
know? So it's like a mixture of like, holy shit,
fuck.
and like, what the fuck? You know? Like,
Hey, would you go home that night and be like, dude, what just happened? Did that really just do
dude, the
that?
best part was my wife wasn't with me at the time, but she shared it the next day. I texted her, and I was just like, she thought it was the funniest text ever. I was like, babe, I just hit a walk-off sack fly in the show. With like 20 exclamation
Awesome, dude.
points.
That is so fucking
She was like,
awesome.
she was like, you were a little kid last night. Huh?
Yeah, that's it.
It really is.
That's
She
it.
said-
It all
she was
boils
like-
down to that.
She was like, looking at photos of you, she's like, I think that's the happiest I've ever seen you.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean,
Minus when we got married and
Yeah,
had kids.
yeah,
the kids.
I
Yeah.
love you, but
That was the third happiest moment after my kids and our marriage. That was it. Yeah, that
And
was
now
it.
the first happiest moment is that the contract I just signed. All about that sack fly.
But yeah, I mean that's what it all comes down to. Like at the heart of the game is about being a kid. And like when you get moments like that, it's like, man, this is so much fun.
well, that's why like I'm kind of sad that they're getting rid of pitchers.
Yeah, because of that.
you know,
'Cause of
because
that.
like it's just cool. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
you have a pitcher that lays down a bunt in a big spot. Like,
right.
if it's a good crowd in a good city that knows like
And
baseball,
they respect that.
they give you a standing ovation.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like
No
you
doubt.
do that in St. Louis, like they'll let
Chicago.
you know, like, hey,
Yeah.
hell of a job, you know,
Yeah.
like
they give you a curtain call.
yeah,
No
it's
doubt.
cool. Like
Curtain call. Curtain calls. Have you ever gotten one of those? Have you ever done a curtain call?
no,
No.
I don't think so.
I've never either. It looks really cool when you do it.
I don't think do pitchers get curtain calls.
Maybe,
but,
like-
dude, Lester got one on.
Maybe,
I mean,
like,
Big
if you,
Ben had
like-
one on the way
I
out.
don't know. I don't know how that would happen, but maybe CG. Yeah, something like that. But I've never done it. It looks cool. It'll be sick.
I mean, the curtain call for the pitcher is the walking off the mound with the hat.
Oh, I've done that.
Yeah, that's
like
your
hat
curtain
tip to the
call.
crowd. That's
I've never
technically
done the
like,
like come out
come
the
out
dugout.
right. That's usually
Oh,
for like,
I mean,
guess-
Jesus,
yeah.
what I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
yeah.
hard for you to do that for sure. But well, dude, I mean, I took up an hour of your time. Thank you, bro. Thanks for
course,
for
man.
being here. I wanted to like. There's so much more behind like how the contract gets signed and everything gets done. I just wanted you to like explain it. Thanks for coming sit. Anytime you want to come and sit in here, bro, and you want to talk and shoot the shit,
For sure.
come and sit.
Yeah.
So we have like 10 minutes left, but we're gonna go through. But again, dude, thank you so much for coming out here. Bro. It was
Absolutely, man.
fun.
Thanks for having me.
Congratulations. You deserve every freaking penny of it.